Hello to everyone. Today's topic is Paribhasa Sarir. This particular topic is as per CCN syllabus given for BMS first year examination, Rachna Sarir. So Paribhasa Sarir, first of all, why this chapter exists is a big question. So first of all, I have tried to give you the explanation why this chapter exists or what is the need of this chapter. Because Paribhasa simply means definitions, and every topic we first start from etymology and definitions only. So why this specific chapter? And then we are going to see only the classical view of these points, whatever we are going to take today. Modern correlations and all these things are very different in different books. If something is common, as per me, we are going to talk about it. Otherwise, we are only going to concentrate on the exam purpose and only the classical text. So first of all, why Paribhasa Sarir chapter is needed at all? So there is this a precise section of Rachna Sarir textbooks which deal with a certain anatomical term frequently used in Ayurveda classics. The definition and explanations of these terms are given here. Hence, before starting for any classics, these terms are to be understood for anatomical analysis. As also the student of anatomy, we might be knowing that terminology is very important. Whenever we start any new subject, first of all, its terminology is important. So here also, if we want to learn the classical texts, samhitas, we should know their terminology. So here we are only going to talk about some anatomical analysis points only, not all the points. So these terms are described in short in Sarirasthana chapter 5 of Sushruta Samhita basically, and also in other places in text as per necessary. Wherever is need, the terms have been described or directly taken, no description is given. Basically, in other classical texts, these terms are scattered. So, in this particular section of text, that is Paribhasa Sarir, these are collected and explained at a place in the light of Rachna Sarir. So, one by one, we are going to go through some topics which are small, but this particular points, topics are very important for short questions as per theme of examination. So, first one among them is Snayu. So slokas are given. You can follow the slokas also. Like the important thing only I am going to recite here. Soksma Chutra Bhyam Snaiva Palen Bhapuna. So these are something like thread which are strong in nature. Then there are Ubdhatu Visesa. And then in Susru Sarira they have given the types and their locations also. We'll come back on this point again. The snayu are string-like fibrous structures belong to Udhatu category. These are binding materials in the body which bind other structures which are present like mass, asthi, medas, etc. During the development, if we see, these are the same, they undergo same process as the sira, but here they are not, they are kharpaka. So during development, the essence part of medas undergoes the metabolic process and forms the sira and snayu. Sira for the soft part, khar, mridupaka, and snayu will be from the kharpaka of medas dhatu. Some of snayu are hairy, thin, network apparent, minute, thus difficult to locate with the naked eyes. Then the types here are described four types. Pratanbuddhi, network-like, in extremities, that is upper limb and lower limb, and in all the joints. Then Vrita, round in shape, also known as Kandra. Prithul, flat, lateral part of trunk, chest, back and head regions. Susir, lumen, that is tube-like, located at the end of Amasya and Pakwasya, and in Basti, that is urinary bladder, stomach and intestine. So this Susir is also correlated sometimes with the sphincters also. Coming back to the sloka, so you can see the sloka Pratan Vakti Sakhasu Sarva Sandhisu Chapyat means Pratan Vakt are present in Sakha and Sarva Sandhisu. So Sakha means four limbs. Vritastu Kandra, which are round in shape, they are also known as Kandra. Am Pakwase Antisu Basti means the at the ends of Am, where Amase and Pakwase and Basti, the Susir one are present, and Prathul is present in parts Ur and Sirasi and Prishta. So this sloka, that is some Susru Sari chapter number 531 to 32, gives the types basically. Then the enumerations are given in classical text. The total number is 900. In Sakha, there are 1 in 150 in 1 multiplied by 4 for 4 Sakha, it becomes 600. Madhesari is 230, then further divided, Kati is 60, Prishta 60, Parsva 60, and Vakshi, that is chest region or thoracic region, it is 30. Girivapadi means above the neck, it is 70. The Griva part, specifically, it is 36 in number. Sira, it is 34 in number. Thus, total becomes 900. Then the importance of functions are given here. So one is the correlation. The first four lines are given correlation with one example from the flanks of board. And next, the written in red is very important, giving its importance function. I will come back on this again. So first of all, the correlation, as the flanks of boat are tightly binded by the rope so that it can float and carry the weight on the water without any danger. The joints of the body are also well articulated by snayus and able to move and bear the weight of the body. So this is important function, that they are going to tie up the joints, and they are going to make these joints so specific they can move and bear the joint without dislocating or disarticulating. Next point is the red one, what was written in sloka. An injury to snayu is more harmful and causes more disability than the injury to any of the masa, asthi, sira and sandhi. So you see, na hastini, na pesio, na sira, na sandhya, vyapit astata, hani asti, snayu sarirangam. So this particular first line, na sthini, na pesio, na sira, na sandhya, normally comes for the exam to identify and to write its importance. As we also know, snayu is also one of the basic structural type of marm also. So from that particular point also we can say this is more important. Any ligamental injury in the body causes more disability than other types of injury. So snayu are more harmful if injured. Now there is some importance or some deep-seated things is given here. The surgeons who has thorough knowledge about the snayu is able to remove any deep-seated foreign body without any difficulty. So if any physician or surgeon who knows the proper anatomy of these particular points, he can easily do the surgery also. So this is the importance of knowing the knowledge or rachnaत्मक review of snayu. Next word comes jal, jal. Jal means network. Again, first we will go through the theory. The jal are 16 in number. They are network-like structures. These are four types: mass, sira, snayu, and asthi. They are located very specifically given in sloka at Madibandha and Gulfa. Madibandha can be correlated with wrist, and Gulfa can be correlated with ankle joint. At each of these four joints, four become two in two hand, two in two legs of the Gulfa. Total becomes four. All four types of jal are interrelated like a network, reticulated and broad. Hence, the body is full of apertures. Dundar has explained it is reticular and perforated. So, if we see the basic anatomy, we'll get to know that at these particular points, some retinaculums are present. So, we might correlate with it, though there may be some other concepts also. So, see the sloka, mas, sira, snayu, asti, jalani, pratek, chatwari. So, these are four types, and pratek is of four types, so total becomes 16. Tani, Madibandha, Gulf, Sansra, Tani. These are specifically present in Madibandha and Gulfa. Madibandha is correlated with the wrist joint and Gulfa is correlated with ankle joint. Paraspar Nibandhani, Paraspar Kavichandani. Means they are interrelated with each other with some post type of structures. So that's for the Jala. Then next word is Masarajju. Masarajju, you can see again sloka given Mahatyu. First word is Mahatyu is very important because these are large in size. Mas Rajavas Chatastra. So these are four in number. Prishtvans Ubhayat. Prishtvans Ubhayat means on the both the parallel sides of Prishtvans, that is vertebral column. They are what the function is the pesi nibandha. Whatever small pesis or small muscles are present on the both the sides of Prishtvans, they are going for the tying of that. And then further divided into two in the inner, two in the outer side. Dundar has also given function pesi nibandha meti prayojanam kathanam. Again, the tying of small pesis is the basic function of Mas Rajju. So they are strong thread-like structures, rope-like actually you can say. They are four in number. They are present on the both sides of prishtabhams, vertebral column, two inner, two outer. They tie muscles in surrounding area. And according to opinion of Vedas, they are eight in number, four each on the vertebral column. Now, if you see the anatomical point of view, you will see we are going to, actually they are talking about the muscles of back, and the long muscles actually which are going to do the function of Nibandhana, the erector spinae group of muscles of the back. So we can correlate them with the erector spinae groups, and further they are tying up the small other ones also. Next word is Kandra. Kandra we have seen in the Snayu also, the Brit Snayu well known as Kandra. They are large Snayu type, they are 16 in number. They are distributed 4 in lower limbs, 4 in upper limbs, 4 in Griva and Prishta. Let's see the first sloka. Sodas Kandra, Sodas means 16. tasam chatasram padyo tatvatyo hastapatgriva kandra nakha. Means here what the specific thing here is kandra mahasnayu given by Dalda, that is large snayu are known as kandra. Now here the terminal point of each of kandra has been given one specific organ, like agra prabha, that is terminal points of kandra of limbs are located in nakha. Agar Prabha terminal points of Kandra of Griva, Hridaya and those existing downwards are located in the midra. Agar Prabha terminal points of Kandra, Snayu, Soni, Prisht, these extend downward located in the region of Bimba, that is Soni of pelvis. Again, Agar Prabha terminal points of Kandra of Murdu, Uru, Vaksha, arms, feet are located in the region of Bimba again in the Soni, pelvis only. So these are certain terminal points which are described in classical terms directly, and the reason is also given, the organ is also given, which till what they are going to extend. Next word is kurcha. Kurch means breast like. So they are 6 in number, sat kurcha. Then they hast path viva medesu. Hast you dway, patyo dway, kirv med ekaha. Kurcha network complex breast like structures which are present. Kurch is also one of the marm, as described in the marm, which are located in the specifically in the upper limb and lower limb. They are 6 in number. They are distributed one each in upper and lower extremity to become two in each, and griva and meter is one. According to Harayan Chand, one of the Snayu Sannipat is located in griva, Kaksha, Vangshan. One Dhamni Sannipat is located in the region of Midra. The total becomes 5. So Harayan Chand has said 5 in number, Susruth has said 6 in number, and then their function. So whatever brush-like structures, network structure is present, it can be correlated here with the kurcha. Then comes the Sevani. Sevani are 7 in number. They are suture-like. The sutures wherever present in body can be correlated here. You see this sloka. Sirsi Vivakta Pancha Jiva Sefa Sa Ekah Ta Parihartutva Sastra. The Sevani are suture-like structures. They are 7 in number. They are located 5 in head, 1 in jiva, 1 in cephas, that is penis. These areas should be prevented from any type of injury. So last half of the sloka is very important. Normally comes in exams also. So if these sutures are going to be get injured, so there will be a great amount of deformity or disability can occur. That's why it should be saved or prevented during the surgical incisions. Next is Sanghata. Sanghata here basically means Asthi Sanghata. So Sanghata are complex structures. Sanghata are complex joint where more than 2 bones are going to be articulated. Chaturdas Asthanam Sanghata, so there are 14 in number. They are located in certain examples are given here: Gulf, Purpa, Janu, Vangshan, Madiband, Skand, Trika, and Sira. You can take one example of Janu. Janu is correlated with the knee joint. In knee joint, we can say the lower end of femur, the upper end of tibia, and patella are going to take part. That's why it is called as Asthi Sanghata. Next word is Simanta. Simanta is very much correlated with Asthi Sanghata only. They are as many as Asthi Sanghata, that is 14 in number. Location is also very much similar, that is same as Asthi Sanghata. But according to Bhoja Simanta, the sutures which are present at the site of Sanghata, it means when the number of more than 2 bones, 3 or 4 are going to combine to form a joint, they are tied up, and then they are tied up with a suture, and that suture type of thing is known as Simanta here. Hindu is commented they are not visible on the skin on the skull. According to Bhagavad, the Simanta 18 in number, and because as per him, the total number present in head is 5. So this is Simanta. So this was a very small topic. Normally come for the short notes in exam. Numbers are very important, and certain correlations are important which you can follow from this particular lecture.